Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to lose 70 pounds and keep it off? And not only that, teach other individuals how to do the same thing? Well, my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to equip healthcare professionals to be wealthy in all areas of their lives. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals, to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. You can follow us on Twitter at the Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And please share this video. We have a group called the Nurse Nurturer on Facebook that you can join to receive uplifting content for healthcare professionals. You can also visit our website at V as in Victor, P as in Paul, nursing.com. Our special guest today is Lauren Howman. Lauren lives with her husband and two boys in Ashland, Ohio. Lauren has worked as a registered nurse and as a women's health NP during her 15 years in the nursing profession. She recently transitioned out of traditional nursing role as a health coach after finding better health for herself. So welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us why you became a nurse.
Sure. Yeah. I come from a very long line of nurses, and it was just a good fit for me as well. I have that giving heart. I want to serve. And so I became a nurse to kind of fulfill that need for myself.
So now, when you say a long line of nurses, like, was your mom a nurse?
Yes, my mom was an L&D nurse, and
Ah,
she became an MP a year after I did. So I followed her, and then she followed me.
I love it. I love it. Influencing your mom.
Yes,
Great.
very fun.
So, you made the transition into being a nurse practitioner. Now, what was the rationale that made you do that pivot into that different form of nursing?
Sure. Yeah. So as a nurse, I was on Mother Baby. I absolutely fell in love with helping women and children. And so when I thought I wanted a little bit more autonomy. I wanted a little bit more weekend freedom. And working on the floors as a young nurse without kids, I found myself working every single holiday because
Oh,
I
wow.
always let the other nurses who had children, have off Halloween so they could trick or treat with the kids, or Christmas and Thanksgiving. So, I just thought I want to serve at a higher level, and I also think I might like to have some weekends off for when I have my own children.
Cool, cool, cool. I love it.
So that's why I went into women's health nursing, because it was just this very smooth transition from taking care of moms and babies in the hospital to being able to take care of moms and babies still in utero.
Yeah.
OBGYN nurse practitioner.
Yeah, it's I will always remember my L&D nurses, right? I will always, no matter what. It's such a special time, right? You're the mother baby nurses and the L&D nurses and the nursery nurses. I mean, they're so important. They're so special. And so I thank you for serving in that capacity, because us ER nurses, we love y'all. Okay, because we ain't trying to deliver no babies. Okay. Not a one, okay?
Right? You're like, I'll do this, but I ain't doing that.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I love them. And it is so funny because it was one day I had this I was at the nurses station, and the people out front, the registration people, they called. I was in charge nurse this particular day. So they called me about this girl, and I know they never call me, and they were like, she's getting ready to have this baby. And I was like, not on my watch. I was like, so I started running. And one of the guys that was in the emergency department at that time, he was like, should I run? Or why are you running? You never run. Because I had been a nurse at this point for at least 20 years. And I was like, well, okay. And so I said, if I'm running, you probably should run. So he ran with me. We had a whole host of people. We put her on the stretcher. We ran her upstairs, and literally from stretcher to bed, she poofed out the baby. I said, thank you, Lord. I said, y'all have a good day now. Bye-bye.
Here's that chart for you.
That's right. That's right.
I love that.
Now we talked about, when we talked, you said that you had recently lost 70 pounds. What was your primary motivation for losing the weight?
Oh my goodness. I think as nurses, I find that there's two groups of people that really put ourselves on the back burner. And especially as women, I think those two categories are women and teachers. We take care of everybody else first. And at the end of the day, we find ourselves sitting on that back burner, a little unhealthy, a little tired, a little bit, just nothing left for ourselves. And I found myself in that boat. I was 70 pounds overweight. And I had also just learned that at the age of 39, a young 39, I was pre-diabetic. And for me, I was like, okay, that's my sign. There's no more time to waste here. I didn't want to go down that path. And the other reason, I have two young children. They were 5 and 3 at the time. And I started to notice a pattern of not showing up very well for them. I'd go to work all day. I would take really great care of my patients. I'd come home and just be finished, just no energy. So I'd become a big spectator in their lives rather than an active participant. And that's not the mom I had ever dreamed of being, not the mom that when I closed my eyes and if I wanted to tell somebody about my life as a mom, that would not have been it. Me sitting on a chair, watching them play. So those were my motivations, to get healthy for them and to also prevent myself from that road of diabetes eventually.
And that's huge. That's huge because, we really want to be there for our children, but not, not having the ability to be there because we're so working hard. And I say all the time that we have to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first in order to show up, not just for our patients, more for our families too, in the way in which you said. So that is some good advice for sure. Now, how were you able to lose the weight and keep it off?
Awesome question. I had done yo-yo diets for years and years, and I'd kind of given up. I had. And until those two things happened, those motivators really got clear in my mind, I had decided I was just going to let myself go and just be who I was. And whatever the size, whatever, it wasn't about the way I looked. It was more about just getting healthy once I realized all of those things. So I actually knew that I needed a lot of accountability. So I posted my starting weight of 230 pounds. I posted my fasting blood sugars on Facebook and said,
Wow.
guys, I'm taking care of this. And people were like, whoa, what is she doing? She just put that up there? She's put her weight up there? Like, is she crazy? And I was like, yeah, but if I don't do that, nobody's going to know. When 2 days down the line, I just decide to say, peace out on this too. I'm not doing it. I'm just going to give up again. And so I think that Facebook was a large part of my success, my early success. And so I just started doing a lot of things to start reversing it. And what I found, because I had gone so public on Facebook, is people started raising their hands. They were like, wow, I want to do this too. I'm showing my numbers dropping on the scale. I'm showing my fasting blood sugars become normalized again. And they're seeing that my Facebook presence is becoming that more active mom, and I've got more energy and I look happier and I'm glowing a little bit brighter. And people started wanting in on it. And so at that point, I really started looking for a way to help people feel as good as I was starting to feel. And, even 20, 30 pounds into my journey, my hope was back. My confidence was coming up.
I love it.
All of those things, I was like, wow, I could share this with so many people. And the joy I had being able to give that to somebody else, that's even better. Just multiply it. And so that's how I got into health coaching, just because I fell in love with it. But the reason I was so successful and able to lose the weight and keep it off, I think, is because I really started to work on me. Not a diet where I just, when you're on a diet, you take your foot off the gas and the next thing you know, you start sliding backwards into those old habits. And you know what happens? I've been there. I've done it a couple of times. The weight comes back and sometimes a couple friends come with it.
For sure. I love it. I love it. I love how because you have to work on yourself. You have to work on who you are and get stronger within yourself in order to be able to do that. And that motivation behind being pre-diabetic. Because for me, I'm on a pescatarian diet now, and it will be my diet for the rest of my life, although I love a ribeye steak, right? But the reality is that I feel so much better where I am now than I did before eating just having this broad diet. It's just amazing, amazing how I feel. So yes, that feeling is so good. So now you have pivoted once again into coaching full time. And I love that because it's scary for people to walk outside of, especially you're an NP, right? So you're getting paid a pretty good salary as an NP, and then you pivoted into coaching. So what was your motivation for moving into the coaching arena? And what were some of the plans that you put into place to ensure that you were able to transition comfortably?
How much time do we have?
Well, very little, because the children are waiting.
8 o'clock, we're going upstairs, taking the school. Oh my goodness. So, for me, I feel like, we follow our passions. And when I found the joy inside of myself again, and the ability to show up as the mom and the wife and the Lauren that I had always felt like on the inside, it was something that I just had to share with other people. And so following my passion. I never in a million years thought that I would not be practicing as an MP. You go to school, you learn the things, you pay all the money, and you just think that's where you're going to be. But you've been back to school how many times and done things. You have to follow your passions, and this is what brings me the most meaning and purpose. At this point in my life, healthcare's changed a little bit. It's to me, and we're not going to bash healthcare at all, but sometimes it's more about the dollar. And I don't love that. And that's not why we all became nurses. We didn't become nurses so we could crank out the dollars for a big corporation, right? We became nurses because we have a heart to give and a heart to serve. But the other thing is, when I realized how much the services of health coaching is needed in this environment, it was like, wow, there's just such a big need. And so, and the other thing, see, I told you, how much time do we have? And the other thing is, I didn't know as a mom, my kids are 7 and 4 now. I didn't know how much I wanted to be home with them. You don't know what you don't know, right? Once
Right.
I had them a little bit later. I didn't really love having my husband be the one pick them up every day from school and me getting home just in time for dinner, and then it's almost bedtime. I didn't love missing out on soccer and all of the other things. And so health coaching has provided me a way to still be able to bring in a very substantial income, also have that meaning and purpose that we're all looking for, that joy, that light, and also the time and financial freedom to really focus on what's most important in my life. And so some of the steps that I did, this is so funny. One of my mentors was like, "Really? You're doing what?" Once I decided that I was going to go all out and health coaching was going to be my bread and butter instead of, my side gig or just a hobby that I was going to enjoy, we paid off all of our debt. And then I started paying my mortgage ahead because I was like, I don't know when I'm going to make the leap, but I was nervous, of course. But what we're going to do in the meantime, while we're still trying to figure out when it's going to be, I started paying the mortgage ahead to give myself a little cushion. And I think the biggest thing is not the financial aspects of that scared me as much. It's walking away from a title, I think, was really difficult. Because we start to see ourselves as our title, like, "Ooh, I'm a nurse practitioner." And that's who you are. When you meet somebody new, they say, "What do you do for work?" And you're like, "I'm a nurse practitioner. I work in women's health." And so walking away from that identity was pretty scary. And, anytime you go into work for yourself, it's scary. Transitioning into, all I have to do is show up, clock in, and get paid. It's a little different when you work for yourself.
That's right. That's right. Putting that one foot in front of the other and just being very intentional on a daily basis. That is very scary. And that pivot, I told you about my coach just before we came on. My coach is Tanisha. And so Tanisha, I have two coaches, Susan and Tanisha, and Susie Carter and Tanisha O. And both of them are very, very intentional about pushing you off that ledge, right? It's like, just do it. And, and so literally it's just doing it and making sure that you are consistent with what you do. And it seemed like you were consistent because you put the plans in place in order to make sure that you were successful. Now, what are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced in going into business for yourself?
I think learning time management is huge. Time management, because that goes right along with consistency. You have to put in that work. Consistency plus time, we were just talking about this, equals success.
That's right.
And when I first came home, it was so funny because all of a sudden my days weren't filled. I didn't have a schedule. And I was like, oh boy, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with myself? And my husband's like, I'm like, I don't have anything on my calendar for today. And he's like, well, that's not good. I'm like, it's fine. But just coming from a very structured model of I work 9 to 5, I clock in every day, I do A, B, and C, and then coming home and needing to be able to be in charge of Lauren, be in your own CEO, finding ways to organize life. And I know you've dealt with that a lot because we've talked about 8 o'clock, you're on the go. This is what you're doing next. This is what you're doing next. And I've had to set up a really good structure around my daytime because when the kids go to school, I could just sit like a bump on the log on the TV and watch Days of Our Lives or something. And so putting a structure in place. I think another thing that's really hard about stepping out of a very traditional role is that people will think you are crazy.
That's true. That's true.
They're scared for you. You're not even scared. You're a little scared. You're thinking, ooh, this is going to be good. And I'm excited, but also a little nervous. But the people in your life are like, are you sure? Are you sure? You don't want to keep a back door open somewhere and maybe just work PRN or, what are you going to do with your nursing licenses? What are you going to do with, so it's really fun to be able to show up and see the belief in all of your friends and family come up as well.
I think that it speaks to two things. And some people, because some people are good-hearted, it speaks to their mirror neuron, right? So they don't see themselves doing that, so they can't see you doing that, right? But then some people, they have that crab in the barrel mentality. And that crab in the barrel mentality is that if I've been in this forever, and this is what you should do, which is not, we have two different paths, right? And so maybe your path is this way, but my path may not be that way. So yeah, that is so very true. And that consistency, because this morning, one of my friends, Stephanie, so I have to post my picture because I'm on the 75-day challenge. And so in the morning, she was like, because I get off the treadmill at 5:30. I am up there from 4:30 a.m. until 5:30 a.m. And she said, oh my God, you are early. And I said, yes. I said from 4 until 4:30, I am reading the Bible. I am praying. I am journaling. 4:30 to 5:30 on the treadmill. 5:30 to 6 o'clock, I am I'm showering. From 6 until 7, I am doing work for the business. And so that consistency has helped me tremendously. And that speaks a lot to my coach again, Tanisha. That is so true, because you have to have a schedule for yourself, just like you did whenever you were working, right? In order to be a successful person on your own. So who has impacted your leadership the most, and why were they so impactful?
Oh my goodness. So many people, I think one of the biggest things about becoming a leader myself, and also being able to step out of that traditional role, a lot of self-development had to happen, a lot. And I love YouTube, just hopping on and listen to motivational speeches. You know who I found a huge love for is Les Brown.
I love him too.
Oh my gosh. You know what? If you're having a day, just put on Les Brown. He'll make you feel so good. His laugh is so fun. He'll put you in a good mood, but he is going to give you so many gold nuggets. I have a mentor. Her name is Patty Glick, who believed in me before I even believed in myself. And she has been there with me this entire time, from day one of me wanting to get healthy all the way up until the day when I called her and said, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to come home and do this. She's been with me every step of the way. My mom, of course, my mom has been a huge role model for me, and has believed in me. She was one of the people that was scared, but she was like, you got to do what you got to do.
That's
I
right.
know you're going to do great. So many impactful people that I can't even, there's just so many. I listen to, Brene Brown. I
Oh,
listen,
yes. I was going to say her. She
yes,
is phenomenal.
yes. Sarah Knight is another good one. She uses some cuss words though. Um, but she's really good about helping you get toxic people out of your life.
Ah,
And doing some things like that, and
ah,
learning how to say no to the things that aren't for you and not feeling bad about it. There's just so many people who I've leaned on, personal friends and,
that
natural.
it's really good that you said YouTube, because that's one of the ways that I was able to, that's one of the motivational tools. Like I got into Lisa Nichols' tribe from YouTube, right? Because I wanted to understand, what I wanted to understand how I could better myself. And I think that your mother, when she was like, okay, you got to do what you got to do, is huge, right? Because, our children don't necessarily go the traditional route, right? But we have to support them no matter what. And Gary V, who cusses all the time, who tears my nerves up sometimes, but he is very, very, and he talks about his mom. His mom didn't care whether he made good grades in school. She was very accepting of what it was to do. And I think that acceptance is huge, because it gives you the ability to say, okay, I got to show up, I got to do this. So what is one characteristic that you believe every leader should possess, and why?
Being able to listen.
Ah, that's good.
Being
That's
able
good.
to listen. And I still struggle with this sometimes. You get on the phone with a potential client and they're talking, or you're talking to a coach who you are guiding along the same journey that you went on, and you're helping them grow this big business. And when people talk, we often listen to come up with what we're going to say next,
Hmm.
instead of listening for the true purpose of hearing that person. So being able to step back and not even speak, let the person have the floor, and you don't have to come up with something that, oh, I did that too. You know,
Hmm.
oh, I know Gary Vee too. I like him too.
Hmm.
Just letting that person have the floor and being able to listen with that intent to truly hear them, and
That's
not just to have that conversation so you know what you're going to fire back at them.
Yes, and I struggle with that. And I think as coaches, it's a struggle, because you're there to coach, right?
Right.
So that is a struggle at times, for sure, for sure. Now, how do you define success?
I define success as the ability to really concentrate on the things that matter most for me. And so for
Uh,
anyone. So that may be that, your dream might be to have a beach house in Maui, or your dream might be to be able to have that time freedom with your kids. It might be that you want to ride 15 miles a day on your Peloton, whatever it means to you, but having the space to focus on the things that matter most, because you have the time for it and you have the ability.
gotcha, gotcha. Now, how do you define wealth?
I think they're the same.
Ah.
I think they're the same. Yeah. I don't have big dreams of being a millionaire at all. I mean, if you give it to me, I'm going to take it. I'm gonna take it. So
I mean, if
bring it on.
I love it.
But I really think success and wealth go really hand in hand. And I think that being wealthy just means, I think you have to be comfortable.
Hmm.
When something happens that you weren't expecting, are you in tears over $1,000 bill? Or are you like, okay, well, that's not how I wanted to spend that money, but okay. So being comfortable enough to have that extra cushion but to me, it doesn't mean millions. It just means being comfortable and being able to do the things that you want to do to create memories and to live a comfortable life.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we teach, is that it's not one dimensional. It's not, and that one dimension is not just in finances. It's in every area of your life where you can have that wealth. That is huge. Now, where can someone find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Lauren Rutledge Howman. I am public. You can friend me or follow me. And you can find me by email at laurenhowman2@yahoo.com. And you can find me here on Dr. V's show. Maybe she'll invite me back.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. My name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I am the CEO and the owner of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to equip healthcare professionals to be wealthy in all areas of their lives. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders that have overcome, such as Lauren, so that you know that the possibilities are endless. You can follow us on Twitter at The Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. And if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. We have a group on Facebook called The Nurse Nurturer that you can join to receive uplifting content for healthcare professionals. You can also visit us at our website at vpnursing.com.